Yellow on the school run. Having a few naughties. What's your bad go-to when you're having a cheeky snack? Crisps are mine. Today there's been a lot of chat about Brexit. A lot of people are depressed about Brexit for a multitude of reasons. The majority who voted for Brexit, like myself, had such high hopes. Just like we had of Boris, I was overjoyed when we won the Brexit vote. But unfortunately, although there has been a lot of positives which our mainstream media don't talk about, the opportunities that Brexit still offers to this island are immense. But you need the right government of pro-British, can-do, thick-skinned, Trump-like leaders, and with the patriotic civil service to back it up. Whereas instead we've had a load of Remainer politicians who are desperate to get us back in, even though we've only just come out in the last few years, and a Remainer-led civil service. Brexit hasn't caused any problems. The EU has caused us many problems by being petulant, spoilt, jealous, vindictive, bullish people and making things really difficult when it didn't need to be that way. And like I said earlier, so many people, like I just said on the radio, one guy just talked about how the car industry is falling off a cliff and he blamed it on Brexit. Like, it's got nothing to do with Brexit, love. It's all to do with net zero and globalist policies around Agenda 2030 and killing off cars and just having electric vehicles provided by China, which may or not work and potentially could, spontaneous combust into flames. And there may or may not be any charging points for us to use, and which overall are way worse for the climate than fossil fuel cars when you take all the slave labour and mining of finite minerals and the poisoning of water supply in the process, and the shipping and the heavily, intensive manufacturing of batteries and the heavier vehicles destroying the roads and the particulates from the tyres, blah de blah. It's got nothing to do with Brexit. It's got to do with all the punitive measures being put on our car manufacturers to hit certain targets of electric vehicles and stop providing fossil fuel cars, which people want. When Labour took over last summer, they were handed a country that was growing, albeit small. But we were growing faster than any others in the G7, although just a few months after Labour we went to the bottom of that group. And inflation was down, interest rates were coming down. We had lower deficit than France, America, Italy, Japan. Second lowest debt in the G7. Our deficit in 2010 was over 10% GDP. It was 4% last year when the Tories handed over. We were doing great with trade deals. Kemi Badenoch was very good doing that. We had trade deals with Florida that the EU would give their teeth for. Australia, where EU talks have collapsed over and over again multiple times. And then the UK became the first European nation to join the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which opening up the Pacific Rim countries for free trade, which could create around 100,000 jobs, which wouldn't be possible if we were still in the EU. Our trade is up volume and value since we left the EU with the EU. The problem is the left and Remainer ideology and negative, relentless rhetoric around Brexit. Like, they literally don't want us to succeed, which is weird, isn't it? And the EU is imploding in every direction. Like, why would you want to be part of that? People go on about, oh, you promised this much for the NHS. Yeah, the NHS is getting more than what was on that bus with Boris. If we had a patriotic government like someone like Trump, you'd see this country become another Singapore. It would fly. The EU would be green with envy. And, you know, you hear the likes of Alistair Campbell, and every post is negative. It's like that he's obsessed. And this is the problem we've had. And the idea of going back talking about rejoining, as we've only just come out in the last few years, and it was such a divisive time, the whole debate around Brexit. And I lost a couple of friends over Brexit. It's always the left, isn't it, that are very intolerant. I was happy for them to be Remainers, totally cool, but a couple of them just couldn't handle the fact I was voting Brexit. And the whole time, every TV, debate, newspaper, it was all about Brexit, and it really divided the country, and didn't help us one way or another in bringing us together. And the media have so much to blame for this as well. Like, if we had media that were patriotic and pushed Brexit and pushed Britain and the future and the opportunities and the freedom it gave us, most people would then, you know, it wouldn't have been a 50-50 split. You'd have had a lot more people voting for Brexit and then getting behind it, and you wouldn't have had all the divisions in family and friends because of how negative and divisive and it was just rancid rhetoric around Brexit. It caused such problems, and then we've only come out since the end of January 2020, when we then went straight into COVID and historically damaging lockdowns, and we are hurting because of COVID and those insane lockdowns and insane policies that killed businesses and killed jobs, and all the inflation from printing money, etc. The idea of going back to more debates on TV, more arguing between friends and family, is so negative. Like, move on, people. We can't keep doing this where you get a new government and then you say, oh, let's have another vote. Like, the EU love to do that. If they don't win, they keep pushing for another vote. Once a historic vote has taken place and people voted in historic numbers for Brexit, then that is it, and a line has to be drawn. And a responsible government and media would get back, go, right, fine, this is what's happened, don't particularly like it, but we all need to get behind Brexit now and make it a success, and be positive, be proactive, be pro-Britain, and move forward. The idea of going backwards all over this, and we know the media and all the Remainers would manipulate everything until they got what they wanted. No more arguing. We've done the debates, we've had the arguments, we've had the division. It was a headache. Nobody wants to go over that again. Brexit hasn't caused any problems. The EU has caused a lot of problems, and bloody COVID and the stupid policies around COVID have caused a lot of problems. We could be flying under Brexit. But the main thing is please, can we draw a line and just move forward for all of our sakes? The opportunities are there. We just need someone who's willing to stand up to the EU and take them.